Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Decentralized Chain. It's Faraz bringing you the latest news, reviews, and blockchain tech. So today we are going to be looking at an ICO that is pretty close to my heart in terms of gaming. So if anyone's really aware of what one of these little devices are, this is a gamepad made by Razer. It's the Orb Weaver. I'm certainly not trying to sell it or promote it in any way, but I predominantly use this to play Fortnite. It allows me to be, or to have that extra edge over the players who are just using a standard keyboard and mouse. So I have all my quick keys set up and I can take part in dual missions, solo missions, tournaments straight away and have everything that I need at my fingertips. But more importantly, it gives me that competitive advantage in order to be able to win the game and the round. Now, what we have here really is an ICO, Bountie ICO, and really what they're planning to do is become the platform or the go-to platform in Asia. And really the idea here is to provide that part of the market with a way to earn an income playing the games that they like. Now, more importantly, what they're planning to do here is combine their platform with blockchain technology in order to provide that decentralized application, and also at the same time provide a way in order to securely receive funds, pay for goods by using the existing Ethereum blockchain in order to do that, but by issuing their own coins on top of that. Now, what we're talking about here specifically is really esports. Now, in order to understand a bit more about where these guys are coming from, the esports revenue currently is around 700 million per year. So that's the actual gaming revenue that can be achieved from esports. Now, if you further divide that revenue down, half of that is pretty much made up by the Asia market. And so this is where Bountie ICO is coming in. They're looking to really become the major platform coupled with blockchain technology to take on pretty much that revenue or that slice of the revenue from the Asia market. So they're not focusing globally, they're focusing specifically on Asia. Now, in terms of trying to understand what the problem it is that they're trying to solve here, let's try to understand the problem a little bit more. So in terms of the key areas that are identified by Bountie in the Asia market, they've got lack of monetization. So the idea being that there aren't enough incentivized or monetized gaming out there in order to really continue to want to play or want to participate. They've also got limited replay value. So by that, what they're referring to is once you've played a game once, you've finished it, then the lack of interest is gone. So the idea being that if you can then plug these games back into tournaments, monetize them, then you have a means of really getting more shelf life out of a game. They've also got the winner takes all. So generally what they have is in major communities, you know, it's roughly the top 3% that tend to take 90% of the winnings overall. So they've got that winner takes all piece. The other area is no gamer search. So, and what they mean by that is there isn't really a profile out there that you can start going around to search for gamers. And this is one of the key areas that Bountie is looking to really promote. And then you've got not enough competitions. So idea being that there aren't enough competitions worldwide, there aren't enough tournaments globally, etc., in order to be able to entice people to come in. And then lastly, as you can see, all of these really link together in terms of career progression. So those who want to make a full-time career out of gaming don't necessarily have that option to be able to do so because of the lack of monetization, the lack of limited replay value, the idea of not having enough in terms of tournaments to participate in, and then ultimately, you know, eventually you will be competing with the top winners in the game, but you know, then there's that which is, you know, the winners are taking a big slice of the pie. And so in order to solve these problems, they obviously have the Bountie platform. And so the Bountie platform provides a number of key benefits. So the way they're looking to tackle the problems that we've gone through are in a number of key different areas. Firstly, the aim here is to really allow gamers to get paid for doing something that they're good at. So here you're giving them the opportunity to make money through competitive gaming, as well as the content that gets generated within the platform itself. Secondly, you've got tournaments and challenges. So the idea here is that the platform will also allow seasonal leaderboards, weekly tournaments for gamers to be able to compete and earn bounty tokens. So that way they get to know where they stand amongst the best players within Asia, as well as giving them more reasons to continue to play. Now, I used to work within the community management space, and one of the key areas that I used to work with clients with was actually helping them instill gamification. And so gamification is this whole leaderboards, contestants boards, and if you, for example, implement that type of theory into leaderboards or into any type of community practice, what that does is that it puts everybody in a gaming mindset, and it creates a more active community, because as people do more within the community, as they level up within the community, they'll get things like badges from novice to expert, from first commander to second commander. And so all of this gaming theory has a very strong input, especially when you have contestants and leaderboards, because it keeps the community and the players coming back for more. Now, more importantly, to make this a much fairer platform, they also are implementing within their platform the gamer profiling and matchmaking algorithms. And so here, this is really key, because the idea here is that the Bounty platform will allow gamers to create their profiles, store their gaming stats, and also find more suitable team players to be able to actually practice and play with, rather than being ultimately lumbered with somebody who is at the very front end of the actual gaming community, the best that they can be within that particular tournament. And so therefore it makes it a very unfair advantage, because you're pitted against someone who's really good and you don't really have a chance of earning. So this is really key, and I think one thing that we need to take away here is that the matchmaking is there to make a much more fairer gameplay service. And then lastly, and most importantly, we've got blockchain. So the idea here is that they're going to be combining the gaming platform with blockchain technology, and here they will be using the Ethereum blockchain in order to tokenize that digital currency. And so by doing that, they will provide protection, additional layers of security, especially when it comes to exchanging this out into real world money. Now, we've spoke about the platform, we've spoken about the token, so let's just understand a little bit more in terms of what it is that the token can actually provide for us. So first of all, it can be used in order to pay for everyday expenses by using cards like 10x. So taking the actual tokens, loading that onto the card, and in order to use that in order to purchase everyday items. So that's a positive in terms of the token value there. Secondly, the token is going to be used for buying into tournaments. So you can't enter a tournament without having bounty tokens. So there is a need and a drive to purchase tokens in order to be able to make more money doing that. So in order to join pro tournaments, for example, on the bounty, then you're going to have to use bounty tokens in order to do that. Now, we mentioned earlier about the partners like MSI, the hardware partners, and the software partners. So the idea being here is that they're also going to have a bounty store, and you can use your bounty tokens in order to purchase that hardware or provide some discount from purchasing the hardware, because ultimately you're using the tokens in order to do that. And then you've got being able to convert it into Bitcoin, Ether, and then ultimately withdrawing it out into cash and fiat. So this is kind of really what the token value is overall. So looking at the overall token metrics, we've got around 200 million tokens. So that's quite a low supply, of which 150 million, so 75%, is going to be sold as part of the ICO process, and the remaining 50 or 25% will be split between the partners, the advisors, and the team, with a vesting period of 1 year. So I certainly like the sound of that. It certainly should avoid any type of immediate dump of pricing as well. In terms of looking at the total amount that they're looking to raise, it's 37,500 Ethereum, which will roughly equate to, at today's price, of around $14 million hard cap. So that's not a bad figure in terms of what we've been seeing in the recent ICO reviews. It seems to be the average price given the market conditions. Now, just understanding a bit more in terms of what has been sold, we have around 15 million that has been sold around the private seed sale. there's also a further 90 million that has been sold prior to the pre-sale. Now the pre-sale is due to start, according to the calendar behind me, in about 15 days, and they're looking to sell 15 million tokens, of which you will get a 15% bonus. Now the tokens have been pegged to Ethereum, and so 1 Ethereum will get you 4,000 bounty tokens. If you include the bonus, then that will be 4,600 during the pre-sale. Thereafter, the remainder, which will be 45 million, will be sold in the crowd sale, and I suspect there will be no discount at that point. So I certainly like the tranching of the selling as well. And what I also do know is that the private sales had around a 20% discount, and I'm not sure of the vesting period, but looking at the difference between pre-sale and private sale of 5%, I'm not expecting any type of significant drop in price or people jumping on and selling all their coins. It really helps when the actual private and the sort of pre-sale discounts are quite close rather than really huge splits. Once again, I don't know the vesting period, so that's the one thing that we would need to find out further. So overall, I do like the token metrics. They seem to be quite favorable. Now, one thing that I really like while I was going through the white paper is actually this isn't just a platform for gamers to come on, play, and ultimately rank up and make an income from it. Actually, it's more than that, and you can now see where the business element is really being highly focused on. It's not just a tech project where they're combining a platform with blockchain technology. In fact, when you have a look at their revenue model, you can see how they are actually going to be taking pretty much that market share for themselves. And so here we've got advertising. They're going to be looking at producing advertising revenue by using that platform. So the idea being here is that whether it's partners, whether it's new game publishers, they can use the Bounty platform in order to advertise, and there's a revenue stream generated for that. Equally, sponsorship, so any type of sponsorship that sort of comes in, that will then also be used as a means for building revenue. Twitch streams, so once again, that can then also be monetized and then brought into the actual Bounty platform, so you can then start making money through that element. You've got YouTube videos, once again monetization, bring it into the actual Bounty platform. And then you've got Bounty Media. So the Bounty Media here is basically if a partner wants to go ahead and create product reviews or in-depth review and guides, then they ultimately use that Bounty platform to reach that 50% of gamers within the world, then that's another avenue stream. So as you can see, they all feed into the Bounty platform, and this is what really gets me excited about the project as a whole. Yes, I like the idea of the platform that they've got, and there are many other gaming ICOs out there that are also doing something very similar, but they're not going after this massive market share, and they're only focusing, ultimately they're focusing across globe, whereas these guys are focusing on their home turf. And then more importantly, what I really like, once again, is this revenue model, because they're not just solely relying on the token to be exchanged and won and sold and increased in value. In fact, they're looking beyond just the token metric. They are looking at outside revenue and bringing that into the platform as well to actually create a revenue stream and a sustainable stream as well on top of the tokens. And then if we continue on, we've got the tournament API. So the idea is that they will be creating a revenue stream from the tournament fees. We've got the sales commissions, so any sales that are made for partner products, for hardware, all of those elements, there'll be a commission element within there as well. As I mentioned before, you can use the Bounty tokens in order to buy partner hardware within the actual Bounty store. So therefore, there is a commission element from there as well. So what I really like about this particular project the most, I mean, even though the platform looks pretty solid and they've already seemed to be having working products out there, is that they have a sustainable revenue stream. So clearly the team has thought about how they're going to deliver that as a whole. And so let's now move on to the roadmap. If we have a look at the roadmap, as you can see, we've had the gaming hub that's been kind of going on for a while now already, and now we're going into the ICO stage. So there's going to be a number of key sale rounds coming up, with a pre-sale coming up, I think in about 18 days roughly. Now, in terms of looking at development, they've already started development of the Bounty 1.0 platform. And actually, if you've noticed while we've been going through the website, they are using the screens from their actual platform. Then we've got a closed beta in Q3. So this is all very much round the corner. In fact, they're going to be complete with their Bounty platform in Q3 as well. So it looks like that they're already going to be trialing out the beta platform. So that's really good to see. In addition, in that same phase from Q3 to the end of Q1 19, they're going to be building out Bounty iOS and Android apps as well. So that's really good because then you can have gaming on the go, not just having to be on the desktop. Then we've got the public beta towards the end of the year, and then they've got the expansion of their game library in Q1. So certainly we're going to be seeing a lot of news being released by the looks of it quite strategically, which should ultimately help push the price of the token as well up in value. So let's go and have a look exactly at who is going to be delivering this platform. So let's have a look at the team and really understand what their skill set and experience is. So starting with Lex, who's the CEO and one of the co-founders of Bounty. So Lex has been a co-founder of previous boutique digital agencies as well as e-commerce businesses. He's also got around a decade's worth of tech industry experience, and more interestingly has been previously ranked top 10 in the Warcraft 3 ladder games. So it's really good to see that the actual CEO has a good business background and more importantly has a gaming background as well as being within those tournaments. So he certainly understands the space and the arena for this particular venture. Now looking at the CTO, the Chief Technology Officer, Darren Lee, once again well honed in areas of design and development and business. Darren also has headed up Fixed Digital, which is one of Singapore's leading digital agencies, and so this is really good to hear because ultimately their main reach is going to be through their platform to their customers, and so that platform really needs to be at the forefront of digital and have that customer experience and user experience baked into it. So being from a digital agency boutique background, that should certainly give them the breadth and experience they need in order to be able to deliver a platform which is made for their customers as a whole. Then if we have a look at the co-founder and financial advisor, we've got Tenzhen. So once again, blockchain enthusiast, as well as a recent crypto analyst with a background in finance and deep experience in entrepreneurship, also ex-Goldman Sachs investment banker. And then if we wrap up with the last co-founder, Jose, he once again founder of a PEC technology startup, around a decade's worth of experience as senior business development strategist. So this is really good. I really like that the four co-founders have a good depth and breadth of experience across business and across technology. Now in terms of the actual marketing space, they also have a chief marketing officer, so Daniel Rajesh. So once again, award-winning APAC marketing expert, a brand builder with around 7 years managing multiple leadership roles within industry, leading MNCs like Procter & Gamble and Autodesk. So certainly very large brands and very reputable brands as well. And it's really good to see that they actually have a chief marketing officer, because once again, what they're going to be doing here is selling their platform to customers, and you're going to need to have a good and strong marketing drive behind that in order to do that. Now looking at the rest of the team, what we have, so we've got head of gaming, Chek Ho, and so once again this individual has dominated pretty much all servers in the Warcraft 3v3 matches. He's also an accomplished coach who guides teams in terms of clinching over around 50 podium finishes locally and globally. So in terms of the backstage, he does a lot of esports projects as well as in various countries and organizations to maintain that esports cycle. So once again, these guys are clearly recruiting and having individuals with significant gaming experience to really appeal to the gamers, as well as esports experience to be able to actually build this brand and this business to what it really needs to be. In terms of the head of community, they've got Charlie Tan. And so once again, this is going to be a very important role, because what you need to understand is ultimately this is going to be a community of gamers, and you need someone with community management experience. And Charlie here has a significant number of years in terms of gaming events management, so developing and creating local gaming communities. Once again, and furthermore, there is significant passion from Charlie within the gaming space as well. So he seems to be a frequent player of Magic the Gathering and Mobile Legends. And then we've also got the head of content, so Jonathan Toyad. Now he has been a former writer, freelancer and editor for video games and tech publications such as Game Axis, Hardware Zone, GameSpot, IGN, APstuff.tv and Red Bull. So certainly he is an expert in content creation, but for all things video games and esports. So once again, they are bringing in key team players that have experience within the field that they're launching their overall venture in. And then if we look at head of business development, we've got Desmond Tan, so co-founder of a regional advertising agency, previous senior investment associate at Castlewood Group as well. So once again, significant experience within events, within agency, and once again, if you remember what we were sort of talking about the platform, there's multiple revenue generations here, from advertising to content creation to marketing. And so clearly they've got all of these individuals within that space in order to be able to deliver that. So I certainly like that in terms of having the breadth of experience consistently throughout in terms of delivering the overall platform. If we then go further down, the rest of the team, we have advisors. So within the advisor space, now looking at the advisors, we have got some really key players within the Asia community here, which are bringing experience across gaming and blockchain as well. So if we start with Peter Pei, he's basically the cryptocurrency advisor. So once again, he is a pioneer within Singapore. He's the founder of Tembusu, which is basically a Bitcoin ATM. He's also on the board of directors for Sofito Bank, along with other figureheads of the world, notably the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. And he's deeply connected within the software development scene and in Singapore's cryptocurrency space. So whilst the actual core team may not have significant blockchain experience, they've clearly brought in advisors that are going to be helping them excel within that space. They've also got a strategic business advisor, so they've got Zwan Ross. So once again, 3 years of working experience in Cambodia and is equipped with strong business networks in the construction, real estate and entertainment industry. Now, once again, one thing that you need to understand is specifically with this Bountie platform, they're looking to create their own arena. So the idea is that gamers actually come to a one central location where they can meet, greet and play with each other on hardware, on tech. And so this is where you actually need this type of real estate experience in order to be able to find those locations, agree the best deals for rental space and all of that stuff when it comes to the real estate side. So that's really good in terms of covering that space. Now looking at, they've also got legal advisors, they've got legal coverage as well. So co-founder of both Red Queen Mining and White Tree Venture Capital Fund. So once again, Kevin is a lawyer and litigator with more than 15 years of standing experience, and is well versed and engaged in terms of startups with particular focus on blockchain and digital currency technologies. So once again, I'm certainly liking what I'm seeing here in terms of the actual breadth of experience. Now we've got additional gaming advisors who are very experienced within the esports arena. So we've got Kenneth Yu, and with Kenneth, he's basically been one of the most decorated gamers. Now in terms of looking at cryptocurrency advisors, they've got Peter Sin, so he's a frequent speaker and panelist on forums and seminars. He also co-head of the digital currency subcommittee of Singapore's Cryptocurrency and Blockchain Industry Association, more formally known as Access. So certainly well embedded cryptocurrency. He's also the co-founder of Singapore's Bitcoin Club, which is Singapore's largest cryptocurrency trading educational community. So really I am liking the fact that they've brought in the advisors to fill in the space that they're lacking as a team within the blockchain area. So this I really like overall. They're all key figures in terms of driving the business forward, opening up doors, getting them recognized and seen by various committees that each of these advisors sit in with. And then lastly, we've got a business advisor. So we've got the partner of DX Racer Singapore. So this is quite key. So clearly this is going to be an element within their overall partnership program. So DX Racer is very well known for the gaming chairs and equipment. And so once again, he's an entrepreneur and gaming fanatic since 2011 and has partnered up with a number of businesses focusing in that area. He's also the venture partner of Global 919, and green tech venture capital for now and future generations. So what I'm really liking about the actual advisors is that they're bringing in individuals that can help them within the blockchain space, individuals that can help them within the software development space, individuals that can help them find real estate space for their gaming arenas. So, you know, they're covering the entire breadth. And so I really like this. I like the fact that the team has thought about where some of their weak spots are as a whole and is plugging that gap. So it's really good to see that, and kind of gives me that extra voter confidence. So looking at the partnerships, there's actually quite a few key partners that they're working with. First of all, we've got SCOGA, which is basically the Cybersports and Online Gaming Association of Singapore. Now, this is a group that was founded in 2008 by enthusiastic gamers and leaders, and basically the idea is that they want to make a difference for esports in Singapore. So this is a very big and well-known group within the Asia market, and bear in mind what they're focusing on is the Asia market. So this is a really good partner to have on board. Secondly, they're also partnered with the Esports Academy. So once again, this is really an initiative developed to basically provide youths with the equipped knowledge and skills they need through various programs that will basically hone them into becoming leaders, not to just achieve esports excellence, but also to make a positive impact in their communities. So that's a really good way to kind of give back and really understand and work with the community as a whole. So in terms of gaming team partners, we've got Galaxy and Impunity. So these are basically one of Bounty's strategies in 2010 to bring aboard professional teams from Dota 2 and Counter-Strike. So these are very well-known, popular games within the sort of MMO space. And you know, the idea here is that these partners will basically be advocates and gaming influencers and be able to basically showcase and shout out to their fans that they're supporters of the Bounty gaming platform. So once again, this is significant exposure overall. And so the idea is that these teams will also act as examples and educate casual gamers on how to use Bounty's platform via their Twitch streams. Now, you know, things like this are really key. So when we hear mentions of Twitch, for example, these are key words within the gaming space overall. So it's really good to see that they're thinking about this type of area. Now, what we also have is that Bounty is also going to be partnering up with MSI. MSI now is one of the leading hardware manufacturers within the gaming. So they do motherboards, they do graphics cards, and so to actually have MSI on board as a partner is quite a significant piece of work, because what that also means is, and if you know your gaming tech, then the likelihood is if they've got MSI on board, I wouldn't be surprised if they're also looking at bringing on Nvidia, because these are going to be direct competitors as well as hardware that consumers will want to buy with Bounty tokens if they want those. In addition to that, that means if we're getting Nvidia on board, then I would suspect that you'd most probably get Ryzen on board as well. Once again, very big players within the video graphics arena. Now, more importantly, once you're getting those individuals on board, then I wouldn't be surprised if we then start seeing chip manufacturers coming on board like AMD, for being very well known within the gaming space. And so I'm sure this is something that the team, whether they admit it publicly or not, is something that they're going to be working on in the background in order to start locking in these partnerships. And when they start locking in these partnerships, this is when, in my opinion, and I'm speaking as a gamer, this will really shoot off, because these are really key players and key brands to have on your side, certainly if you're looking to get into the esports space. Now, moving on, let's have a look at the hype. So as we can see from the bottom of the page, they have a YouTube presence. They also have presence on Bitcoin Talk. They've got Facebook presence. They've got Twitter. They've also got Instagram, and they have Telegram as well as Medium. So if we just have a little look at some of the figures that we're seeing here. So for Twitter, we've got around 2,700 followers. Looking at the Instagram, they've got around 3,580 followers. Telegram, they have around 24,389 members within the Telegram group as a whole. And in addition, they also have a Medium page in terms of spreading further awareness. So certainly from a hype perspective, and from some of the numbers that we're seeing, they're clearly already reaching out. Now, once again, you need to understand that this is really focused on the Asia market. So a lot of what we've gone through is really predominantly focused around Asia. So, you know, once again, they clearly are getting the message across to their home countries in terms of getting this platform out there. So I certainly like the look of this. So now let's have a look at my final thoughts on the project. So in terms of looking at the project, I've decided to give it a 3.5 purely because I do feel that this space is slightly overcrowded with also other gaming coins. So they're not the only ones out there. If we kind of have a look in coin market cap, we've got Enjin coin, but one thing you should really focus on is the actual market cap as well, because it does give you an indication and a potential whereby if Bounty can overtake these players, then they seriously have room to grow. So if we say roughly that it was around 14 million in terms of their market cap based on what they're looking to raise, we've got Enjin coin which is sitting at around 83 million in terms of market cap. So we've already got a significant number of multipliers if they can beat Enjin in terms of what they're doing here. There's also First Blood within this space which is floating around 16 million. There's also Hero coin which isn't doing so well, which is floating around 4 million. And then in the last one that we've got here also is Player Key, so that's floating around 6 million. Now one thing that I've noticed in terms of looking at the project overall is that they do have a number of key advantages. Now the main difference here and where Bounty kind of has the advantage is that even though it is a competitive industry, as we've seen from the coins, really all that happens in some of those platforms is that the rewards are in-game tokens or esports betting. Now that's not really what Bounty are aiming to do here. In fact, they're building a holistic gaming currency which is really nurturing more of a gaming lifestyle, and they're providing pretty much revenue generation across multiple streams, across multiple games, as well as having a very well and engaging platform. And specifically these guys are focusing on the Asia market, so they're not really looking to tackle the whole entire globe. They're tackling 50% of the revenue generation, so I certainly like the look of that. In terms of prototype, I've given it a 2 for the time being. Now I am under the impression that there is ongoing testing currently, and if you've noticed throughout their website, they actually are sharing screenshots in their graphics. So I've kind of taken the liberty of blowing some of these up. So we've kind of got a ready to play. This is the sort of post login screen. You've got the online users on the side, you've got the parties, you've got the various games that are launching, and then as well as the wallet balance. And then the other screen that I noticed, which was a larger view of the wallet balance, kind of showing exactly the amounts and the dates and the transfers. And then we've also got match results pages post match gaming. So I am under the impression that there seems to be some sort of testing going on, because we are within a development cycle according to the roadmap. So this is quite a positive. So I'm going to give it a 2 because I've only got screenshots and I haven't really been able to get my hands on any type of platform specifically to be able to test it out. Moving on, the team, I've given them a 3. Now I've given them a 3 purely because I want to see a bit more blockchain experience and I want to see a bit more development experience overall. But what I do like about the team is that from a C-level perspective, which is like the CEOs and the co-founders, they clearly have significant experience within business, within technology as well. So that's really good to see, and that's gives me confidence that they know how to run it at a business level. When you go one level below, you've got community managers, you've got head of gaming, you've got content managers, you've got a huge marketing team behind it. And this is really key because ultimately these types of platforms are very strong as a gaming community, and the emphasis needs to be on the community element. You need to have those specialist community management skills in order to hone and grow that community overall, and that will then ultimately feed in and provide value for the platform, value for the token. The advisors and partners, I've given it a 4 purely because their advisor list firstly is significantly quite large already. Secondly, I'm aware that they're also bringing on advisors from Twitch as well as ex-advisors from Nvidia. Now this is really interesting because, as I mentioned before when I was reviewing the advisors in depth and the partners in depth, what I mentioned was that they already have DX Racer Singapore as their seating arena solution. They've also got Skoga, which is basically one of the largest gaming communities within Singapore. And then what I also mentioned was that they also have MSI, which is one of the hardware manufacturers for motherboards for graphics cards. And so the fact that they've got an advisor coming in or joining the team from Nvidia makes me feel that they clearly must have some sort of link with Nvidia or talks with Nvidia as well. So this for me is really big, because if they start signing on those partners as part of their partner advisory board, then this is going to grow huge, because it's going to give them that significant exposure through the gaming community. People will come to them through their partner network. In terms of looking at token metrics, I've given it a 3.5. I think the token metrics are very favorable, certainly in terms of what they're selling, certainly in terms of what they're keeping. But what I don't know is the vesting period for the seed round, which was a small portion in comparison to what's been sold, as well as the private round. So we need to kind of understand what that is, just to really understand what the vesting periods are around that. In terms of hype, I've given it a 4 because it is huge. It's certainly one of the largest communities I've seen in terms of the limited number of ICOs that I've been reviewing, and I've given that a 4. 24,000 people in Telegram. They've got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. They've got a significant presence and awareness piece overall. So anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this review. I certainly enjoyed doing it, and maybe from a selfish perspective, because I am into my gaming and I do enjoy using my Orb Weaver to kick some multiplayer ass. But more importantly, if you have found this review useful, please hit the like button, please subscribe and share the video. Equally, if there is something that you didn't like, please feel free to leave a comment below in the description, and I will certainly try to address it in my next review. See you on the next episode.